What do you think are you gave 3 tips.
Yep.
What are 3 of the most common financial mistakes that people can make?
Yeah. One, I think, is this feeling of either complete deprivation when it comes to spending or like balling out all the time. And there is a balance that you can find between, taking care of yourself and also having fun now.
Yeah.
And I think with my 100K journey, like the question I get a lot is, it's like, oh, you lived on oatmeal, right, for 4 years. And I'm like, no, like I traveled internationally. I went out to eat. It was just finding that balance between, spending and saving.
Did you find it specifically with a budget? Is that how you find it?
And you just said the word budget like you'd say the word poop, which is
Yeah.
You're
That's
like,
how I feel
budget.
about it.
So budget isn't a dirty word, and I promise you it's not. I know you're like, everybody out there is like, budget, and makes you want to throw up. I think of it as a permission slip to spend unabashedly on the things that I love.
Yeah.
Because I know that I'm taken care of, right? Because we were talking about like margaritas with a side of guilt. Like, nothing's worse than going to a beach somewhere and, having your drink and being like,
guilty
oh, I
about
put this on a credit card.
Yeah.
And I can't afford this, right? Like, I, again, want the feeling of the vacation and the fancy dinner with no sight of guilt.
Absolutely.
And so the budget is just like, they're like the bumpers in bowling of just like, hey, we're giving you.
I'm in the good
gas
lane.
gauge in a car. It's like, cool, I'm going to go and have a fun drive and I'm not going to worry that I'm running out of gas.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And so I teach in the book what I call like the non-budget budget, which hinges on automation. And that's why it's like my favorite thing is if you are automating your savings and taking care of that first, everything else falls into place. Because if you're doing the hard thing first, then the money left over in your bank account after your necessary expenses, you get to spend on whatever you want.
Right.
That's a budget. It doesn't have to be more complicated than that. I don't track every penny. I have Timothy Chalamet YouTube compilations to watch. Like, I'm not out here like,
I'm with you.
Thank you so much. I mentioned him so many times in the book, and at the event last night, I was like, no one liked Timothy Chalamet. I'm like, great, more for me. I know, thank you. I love him so much. I agree.
He's one of the most brilliant actors, young actors we have right now. He's a rarity. He's beautiful.
I joke that this whole business is just like to get me one step closer. Like fuck the financial fund. I don't care about that.
It's getting you closer.
I'm trying. I'm just gonna
so
same room. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, like I got better shit to do. We all have better shit to do, and like the tracking every penny is just like not sustainable. And so it's
that's why budget's a dirty word for a lot of us.
Or you're like, I don't want to look at a spreadsheet. I don't want
to fucking look at that every
and
month.
You don't have to if you set up that automatic transfer where it's like that's taken care of.
Yeah, your bills are taken care of. You have automatic savings happening.
Yep.
Your rent's set aside, whatever. All your shit's set aside, so you know that whatever's in there, you're okay.
Right, and you get to spend on whatever you want.
And then just be smart with it.
Yeah. This is a very specific mistake that I see, but it's so worth talking about.
Yes, please.
So something like a Roth IRA or a 401k, these are both retirement accounts, right? They're investing accounts for retirement. And I see this especially with women is they believe that that is the investment itself. So if you put money into a Roth IRA, it's not like a bank account where you can put money in and be like, cool, I'm done. You have to not only put money into the account, but you then need to go buy things with the money. So it's like a gift card, right? You like put $50 on a TJ Maxx gift card. Now you need to go buy your plants and candles and throw pillows, right?
Okay.
The Roth IRA is just the account that holds the investments. It is not the investment itself.
Okay.
So I will see people put, let's say, $500 into a Roth IRA. They will just put it into the account and they're like, cool, it's invested. It is not. It is in financial purgatory. It is just sitting there waiting to be invested. You have to take that $500 and go buy something like an index fund or a stock or a bond.
Got it.
And we explain what all of these are in the book. But this is like literally costing people millions of dollars.
Right, because they're not actually investing.
And I tell this story in the book about this woman named Rose. I was sitting on a panel, back in like 2019, and this woman was a financial advisor, and she worked with this teacher who was diligently putting money in her 401k every single month for 35 years. But she had never actually invested the money. So she, went, it like literally makes me cry every time I talk about it. She went, at 65 to her financial advisor. She's like, okay, cool, I'm ready to finally retire, on my teacher salary. And they're like, you have $300,000. Now, that sounds like a lot, but $300,000 for 30 years, right?
No, it's not
when it
at all.
literally could have been $3, $4, $5 million.
Why did her financial advisor not invest her 401k?
I don't, but that's the thing is it's like, unless I think she just like saw her once to like, figure out her retirement but that is something I'm seeing all of the time because no one's fucking teaching people this.
Yeah.
And when you log into like Fidelity or Vanguard and all of this seems so complicated.
Yeah.
My not so conspiracy theory is that that's on purpose.
For sure.
So that you pay somebody the
Yeah.
2 or 3% to manage
To do
it for you.
For sure.
And also they're bad at their jobs. Like we know from data that they're like stock pickers are not good at their jobs. Cats outperform them.
Well,
all the time.
Yeah, well, because it's hard to be good at.
No one's good at it.
That's what I mean.
No one's
it's
good
all
at it.
gambling. It's all gambling. Anyone
I shouldn't
who tells
say
you
it's
they
actually
know
not all.
shit-
Let me debunk that for you.
Please.
So there is certain investing that is gambling because this is actually a common misconception.
Yeah.
And here's it's like investing is gambling, so I'm not going to do it. Day trading, like crypto bullshit, like
Yes.
anything that's like a
Gambling.
day to day, 100%
Yeah.
gambling. It is a game.
Yeah.
And if you are like trying to get rich off this hot stock, like you are gambling.
Yeah.
It's just like putting money in a slot machine or on a racehorse.
Yeah.
That
On a
is all it
roulette
is.
number or color.
Totally. There's long-term investing, which is what investing should be.
Yes.
That is not gambling. It's
Yeah.
consistent. I joke that
that like
investing should be
index
sexy.
funds and-
Exactly.
yes.
Index
It's
funds
that-
are like groups of stocks, right? So
Exactly.
rather than just buying like Amazon or Pepsi or Bumble, you can buy one index fund that has a bunch of different companies in it. And that's what I teach. I co-created an investing education platform called Treasury because it was literally people were coming to me with this Roth IRA problem where they were like, I put money in and I'm not seeing anything. And I'm like, oh yeah, because it's been in there 3 years and it's never been invested.
Wow.
Or I log into my account and I don't know what to choose.
Yeah.
And so we actually start people with an Investing 101 workshop live. And 80% of the people who come in have never invested before. And we have $32 million invested in the platform. They literally at like minute 40 of the workshop make an investment and they walk out of the workshop investors. But that's the thing I'm seeing is it's either women not investing, people not investing because it's too intimidating, or it is gambling. And it's like, actually, you won't be able to retire if you don't invest. And because it's so veiled and no one's teaching, there's these common pitfalls or mistakes that are just, so normal, but no one's teaching it.
Yeah, I want to highlight what you just said for the listeners. If you don't invest, you can't retire.
Yeah.
And when we're young, that's hard to even think about caring about because
The world's burning, and I'm
future's-
like, what does
yeah,
it
and the
matter?
future's so far away. It's just like, why do I need to think about that? But if you imagine working the same way you're working now when you're fucking 80, like that's awful. That's why people save is so that they
Totally.
can retire. So at a certain point, you go, I don't need to work anymore. I have X amount of money.
And I picture grandma me, and I have people do this in the book of like, what does, grandparent you look like? What does like Nana Tori look like?
Yeah.
And she is flirting with her much younger Pilates instructor named Luka, and she is drinking Sauvignon Blanc with lunch, and like she's rescuing dogs in her Tuscan villa. And I'm
I knew Italy was going to be a part of
oh,
it.
of course. And it's like, if I, as a 28-year-old, am not doing a little bit of heavy lifting, that's not going to be her reality.
Yeah.
And like contextualizing of like, this is future you.
Yeah.
And you don't want cute little grandparent you to be financially struggling.
I mean, ask yourself how your grandparents lived. Maybe some
Yep.
of you have wealthy grandparents. I didn't. My grandmothers
Me
were very, they were, on the edge of their bank account their
Yep.
entire lives.
my
and-
grandparents on my dad's side never left the same house
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it was like that was all they could afford. And Latrobe, Pennsylvania, which is like an hour outside of Pittsburgh, like tiny little
My
town.
family's tiny town outside Scranton, Pennsylvania. Yeah.
I didn't know you were PA.
Yeah, PA. People
you a
think
Steeler
Scranton's
fan?
small. Philly, we're Eagles.
Oh,
Yes,
because you're on the
sorry,
Scrantons.
babe.
Oh no! This
we're
interview is
Eagles.
over. You're doing
Yeah.
great this year, though.
I
We're doing
know.
like
We're
shit.
one more game. We got the Super Bowl. But yeah, so a lot of my family lives in a small town. You think
Yeah.
Scranton's small? They live outside. Scranton's very small, and just my Nana. I would have loved for my Nana to have money later in her life.
Did you have a Nana
and
too?
feel-
I have a Nana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for her to have like freedom and money
Yeah.
in her life, even though she was content. She was, she was all right.
And again,
but
you work for so long.
that's it. She worked her ass off.
And
her
unless
whole
again
life.
it's like all these systemic factors, which again are huge.
Yeah.
Like we control the things we can control, and of that, like, do you want that for 65-year-old you?
Exactly. And I'm glad you said that too, because look, there are tons of problems we can all see with our systems, right?
Oh, huge.
Of course, I'm more on the democratic socialist side of things. I understand problems with capitalism, but I don't think capitalism itself is the problem. It's that there's no fucking morality in our capitalism.
Any system would be flawed because it's humans doing it.
Yes.
But I do think that our current capitalist,
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's not capitalism itself. It's our version of it.
It's murky.
Yes.
I say in the book that like I don't want to win capitalism because that means I have exploited somebody.
Right.
But I can't lose capitalism either because
Yes.
that means deep suffering for myself and for my community.
Exactly.
So it's just like, how do I navigate and survive capitalism, and how do I do the best I can? And then again, this is for me, like the definition of financial feminism is like, if you can get your own financial shit together and control the things you can control, if you can put on your own oxygen mask,
Yeah.
then you get to help others, right?
Exactly.
Because you're taken care of. And we get to create a plane where every single person gets an oxygen mask.
Exactly. Yeah. You can create in your own life. You can control what you can control.
And start to change the society that exists
That's
for
what I was
everybody.
going to say. You
right.
can start to create from your own sphere of influence.
Yep.
But banking on massive things that are out of your control to change, even if they're unfair, unjust, all these things, and letting that prevent you from playing the game that we actually live in,
Yep.
it doesn't help you, and it doesn't help anybody, and it doesn't help those around you. So yeah, as much as I have critiques on our systems, I know most of them, it's hard to change these
Yep.
these deeply embedded systems. It's not quick. So within the system we have, what can you control? How do you create your own freedom?
And the pursuit of wealth is not wrong.
It's not. That's another
Yet we've
misconception.
been conditioned again to believe, oh, if I pursue wealth, it's greedy or it's wrong or and it's like, it's a stack of government issued paper. It has no moral value,
Yeah.
right? What you do with it, of course, there's plenty of people out here doing great things with money. There's plenty of people out here doing not so great things with
Yeah.
money.
But pursuing it is not
Right.
inherently wrong.
And we are
of course
also,
we want it.
we're conditioned, I think the gender divide with the pursuit of wealth is so interesting. We encourage men to pursue wealth in the way that we like don't for women.
Sure.
And so I think a lot of us, just generally, regardless of your gender identity, like push away money.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, that's bad, that's wrong. I don't want to be like that rich kid that I met when I was in high school.
Sure.
And it's just like, I don't want to do that. And it's like, actually, if you're pursuing wealth for the right reasons, which is your own stability and your own choices, not only is that definitely not selfish, that is like, that's the thing that's going to be able to give you the options and the choices.
Yeah, I think that is a huge thing. It's been a big part of my transitioning into my adulthood, my manhood, that journey of the right amount of selfishness. I think that's something a lot of young people need to make the turn into is, you need to take care of your life. You need to decide that you are responsible for your life and confront it. And sometimes that means kind of blocking off, even for a time, how much you're giving or listening or connecting with other people's problems. And like really, the only way you're going to get financially free is you got to take it deep inside yourself. You have to go like, okay, I need to do this.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly. I need to say that I'm worth pursuing this.
Yes.
That I'm worth figuring this out. That I want to and that I can. And I think that's a transition a lot of us